Hi there, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of Investor Intelligence. Brought to you by the team at the Property Mentors, it is your weekly podcast for all things investment and hosted by me, Phoebe Sikowski-Wallace. For today's episode, we have another investor's journey for you, as alongside mentoring our valued members, we also love to celebrate and share their wins, how far they've come, and to hear all about their goals. We find this is a really great way for our listeners to hear stories that may be similar to their circumstances, as a lot of people share the same goals, and when you hear how well others have done, it can be that little bit of extra inspiration for people wanting to do the same. So our investor today is Liam Carmody, who throughout his time here has been mentored by the wonderful Malika. Now, Malika was very excited to put Liam forward to share his story, and throughout my chat with Liam and just hearing how he's approached his investing journey, where he is now, where he plans to be in future, it was really quite truly inspiring to hear this. And it will become very evident very soon that he really is the definition of someone who works hard and smart for his goals. But I will let him tell the rest. So I hope you enjoy. Here's Liam. So Liam, welcome. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
Thank you for having me on.
Now, to start off, and before we get into anything to do with investing and property and portfolios, I want to know more about you. Tell me about your background, your family, what you like to do, like what are your hobbies, where are you based? Tell me about you.
Yeah, cool. So I grew up in a town called Yass, which is near Canberra. So lived there until I was 18. Spent a year after I finished school to just working whatever job I could, to be honest, to try and save money to go to uni. So did jobs like I worked in a nursery as a lifeguard, did cleaning jobs, worked in bars, did some chauffeuring for someone back before Uber existed. He actually lost his license, so did that as well just to help out and used to pick up his kids and take them to work. And so that was interesting for a little while, but just whatever I could to save money, really. So did that to enable myself to go to uni and then get like the Centrelink allowance. So use that to fund my way through uni. Did a civil engineering degree at the University of Wollongong. So I moved out of home. I was 19, and then did that 4-year degree, and then been based on the south coast near Wollongong ever since, basically. Just throughout my engineering career now, I've just saved up money, and whenever I've had a chance, I've invested on the way through. So
yeah, amazing. And what's the journey of your career been like, say, over the last 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, so I recently changed careers, but I was a civil engineer for about 9 years. But just on project to project, basically. So I'd sort of do a job for 18 months and then mainly on the South Coast, but then took a role probably about 3 years into my career out remote, place called Armidale, towards the Queensland border. So went out there for a wind farm project. So that was a good role for me and my wife, really. So my wife's the teacher, so we both went out there and she managed to pick up work as well. But I got a good pay rise to go out there and got some other incentives from living away from home allowances. So that was, again, targeted to try and, whilst it was a bit of a sacrifice to move away from friends and family for 18 months, we knew in the long run that it'd help us out. Having a family, which we have. We've got a little 18-month-old boy now, and
amazing.
Just trying to, just thinking longer term always. Just whilst you're young and you've got that chance to be able to move around and experience different things, and also make more money and save more money during that time that we can then use and put to a better future. That was our plan.
Fantastic. And so you mentioned you saved some money through your engineering career in order to get into the investing. So prior to being a member with the Property Mentors, how would you describe your investing knowledge beforehand? Did you know anything? Did you know nothing? Maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you describe it?
I'd say probably maybe 7. around there, 7, 8. So I read quite a lot of books and podcasts and educated myself on the way through when I was like at uni, but then also when I was working as an engineer as well. So we bought our first house I think back in 2015, maybe. That was the place we still live in now. That was a house and land package, that one. But it's worked out quite well for us. We've managed to refinance that one a few times now and invest elsewhere. But that was for us again. That was a decision for the longer term, because I was looking back when I was trying to find a place to. Well, for my first house, really, we're looking at a unit in Wollongong, off the plan as well. But looking back on it, we made the right call, I think, because we would have been in that place for maybe 2-3 years, and then would have outgrown it at the point we're at now with a 18-month-old and a 30-kilo dog that wouldn't be that keen on a 2-bedroom apartment. So
no, I can imagine.
yeah, so we looked back on that at the time, and we wanted to have a longer horizon, I guess, with the houses we live in. We don't want to be jumping in and out of houses. You obviously cop a lot of stamp duty and legal costs getting in and out of properties. So we found somewhere that we thought we'd be able to settle down in for 5 to 10 years and have a family, and then get to a point where we can invest elsewhere and not overextend ourselves as well initially, and then we can use our money to just continue investing, and then eventually find a dream home somewhere on the coast. But it's a little while away yet, but we're working there.
Yeah, fantastic. So you say before becoming a member, you were about a 7 or an 8 as far as investing knowledge. Do you remember the moment that you decided to seek some guidance and kind of why you came to us?
I probably got to the point where I wanted to be a bit more like aggressive, I guess, but just to increase my own knowledge further as well, because my ultimate goal is to get into property development. So I know Luke's done that himself quite a bit. So one of the main reasons I reached out to TPM back when I did was speaking with Luke, and he's done it himself. So it's always good to bounce ideas off people that have been there and done it, and so that was one of the main driving factors for me. But probably just to use that knowledge to then like eventually get there myself, and not to go into it without the knowledge, and then you hear of stories of people trying to do it themselves too early on in their investing career, and it all goes wrong, and you're back to square one. So I just want to make sure we're doing it with a long-term focus, and not to overextend ourselves too early on.
Yeah, there's definitely some horror stories, but that's great to hear. So in hindsight, which of the types of ready do you think that you needed the most help with? So there's the educational readiness, there's the emotional readiness, there's the financial readiness. Which was the one that you think you needed the most guidance with?
Probably financially, because I've got quite big aspirations, I guess, but Luke's always been clear from the start that you've got to build a good base first. Like, you can't rush into it too early, and then you've got that risk of losing everything. So just trying to, I know I'm quite aggressive with what I want to do and achieve, but you've got to be smart about it too. There's no point just rushing into it. And so just trying to, it's sort of that give and take, I guess. You've got to sort of have that, that drive to go and do what you want to achieve in life, but you've got to, just take baby steps sometimes, and not just try and
for sure
go and do it all at once.
And how long have you been a member with us now?
Probably 3 years now, maybe.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
So investing can be a very daunting journey for people, for a lot of people to start. It's a massive leap. Was there anything that you were kind of worried about, or did you have any concerns kind of going into it?
Not necessarily, because I was quite, I was pretty well educated, I think, beforehand. So I knew that it just gelled with me, I guess, in property investing. I'm being an engineer, I'm quite analytical, I guess. And property just makes sense to me. I like building things too. So just everything about it I understand it really. So it's always going to be my vehicle to achieve passive income and wealth. So that's how it's always sort of been in my head.
Goes hand in hand. And what would you say has been the biggest challenge for you so far?
Biggest challenge probably just trying to pull myself back, I guess.
Mm.
Which is what it's sort of been good having that other just point of call just to talk through ideas. And because like I want to go out there and do everything, but I know you've sort of got to be smart about it and just have more control, I guess. Because properties, yeah, it's an expensive asset, so, and it's very hard to get out of a bad deal that you
Mm.
got yourself into. So you want to choose your investments carefully on the way through, and then just make sure they're all pieced together and they're all structured correctly, and they all serve a purpose in your overall portfolio.
Yeah. Now, speaking of your portfolio, how's it going? Where are you now with it? And and how would you maybe describe your investing knowledge now as opposed to when you went into it? So you sort of started with a 7 or an 8. Where would you say you are now as well?
It's probably, I'd say over 8, maybe 9 now. Like I wouldn't say I'm an expert by any means, but I've actually changed careers quite recently. I'm now a buyer's agent, so
Mm.
that's more of a it's a role that I'm more passionate about, I guess, too. And coming from an engineering background, I'm very analytical. So we specialise mainly in commercial buyers agents. So that's very much looking at numbers, looking at like investigating tenants and just having a clear understanding of what drives property growth
Mm.
and what reasons you're purchasing it for. So, but yeah, like my personal portfolio, I'm trying to grow every year. Really, I bought every year since I first started. Really, but just with the changing career, it's just a bit more difficult with finance at the moment. So I've got equity sitting in properties that I'd like to be using, but just got to sort of sit tight for the next little while, and probably towards the back end of the year, hopefully look to go again, and just try and work my way towards having a bit more passive income
Mm-hmm.
to then use that to go out and look at some more exciting things for me personally, which have been developing and that sort of space.
Fantastic. And just to go back, how many investment properties have you got under your belt at the moment?
I got 5 at the moment,
Wow, that's huge.
so not not big enough yet in my opinion, but
That's a very good start, though.
we're working there. So yeah, no, they're all spaced out quite well too. So I've sort of deliberately spread them out across 4 states now. So just
Amazing.
trying to get make sure it's diversified and not to like with land tax and things like that. Just to try and just make sure it's a long term buy and hold strategy. That's it's
Mm.
always going to be one that I can. Whether one area is not growing, I can then leverage off another area that might be growing. So just trying to stagger it, I guess, in a way too that I'm always in a position to be able to leverage and keep moving forward.
Yeah, great. And what's your biggest overall goal when it comes to your investing?
It's probably just to achieve that freedom, I guess, like financial freedom to be able to make the choices that we want to do. So
Mm.
my wife's from the UK, so we actually spent 3 months there last year,
Yeah.
which was nice just to have that time off and with a young baby as well, just to go and see her family for a few months. So properties given me that opportunity to be able to just take some time out and just to be able to just spend time with family and just have the option, I guess, to choose how we spend our time each day, and then just to go and do more fun things, whether it's traveling or I'm wired differently to most people. So like I actually enjoy working, whether it's in property or in some way, shape or form. So I don't think I'll ever retire necessarily, but just to be able to have that freedom to go and do some cool projects, and then at some point to be able to show my kids that I built that, and
Mm.
um, that's where I want to be able to get to.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And what's been your favorite thing that you've kind of learned about investing with the property mentors? Maybe it can be something that you had no idea about to begin with, or it could be something that you wanted to learn about at the start and now you're more knowledgeable on. What's been your favorite thing that you've learned?
It's probably just that there's other ways to invest too, I guess. Like there's not just bricks and mortar, but there's other passive strategies that you can implement too, which the property mentors I haven't taken them on yet, to be honest, but there's options out there that you can take on. Like become the lender, for example, where you can,
Mm.
if you're not quite ready to purchase, or if you've got equity sitting there and for whatever reason you can't access it, then that's a great way just to be able to put your money somewhere other than a bank, which isn't a great spot to have your money at the moment. So
No, it's not.
yeah, so just to be able to have that as an option too is quite just it's good, and has that flexibility too, that you make sure that your money's always working for you on the way through, and you're not sort of sitting there idle necessarily.
Yeah, I'd have to say that's probably one of my favourite things that I've learned as well, is that, yeah, banks aren't the only... I mean, something like Become the Lender is a great way to sort of fast track your foot in the door. So, yeah, I totally agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Well, Liam, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to hear your story. What an incredible journey you're on so far. Thank you so much for making the time to share that with me. And I wish you even more success in the future.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Guys, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you would like to know any more about us here at The Property Mentors, you can check out our website, thepropertymentors.com.au. Make sure to follow us on Instagram. Both the podcast and The Property Mentors handles are linked in our show notes, along with all other socials, including a link to our blog. If you are ready to take your investing seriously and want to broaden your knowledge, the best way to do so is with Luke's latest book, Property Fit, and you can get yourself a copy of that at propertyfitbook.com.au. Please make sure to share, leave a rating, as it helps us reach more people on their investing journeys, and also subscribe to be notified when our episodes drop. Once again, thank you so much for listening, and I will be back in your ears again next week. Investor Intelligence provides general information only. You should consider seeking independent advice to see how this information relates to your unique circumstances. Please refer to the terms and conditions available at investorintelligence.com.au for more.